great memories for this lad. We came last night to watch you. We came into town and we're back again tonight. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Is this really exciting for you?
Yeah.
It means everything. It means the most because obviously we've had bad luck. Real Madrid last year, 3-1. We've had a tough year, 1 point off the league. It's been, heads held down after the league, but 3 weeks and then we win the European Cup. So it is what it is.
It means the world, and we're going to do it next year as well. So Istanbul, yeah, we're coming.
Very happy Liverpool supporters then, to say the least. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Ali Moreno. It's interesting, boys, isn't it? And the last person there making the point that they're already thinking ahead to Istanbul next year.
Well, they are.
Is this the start of a golden era for Liverpool? Before it was all about Barcelona and Real Madrid, everyone chasing them just a few years ago. Have the tides now turned so much that everyone is chasing Liverpool, Manchester City?
No, I don't think so. I think Juventus had a bad... and they'll go again. Let's talk about them signing Koulibaly, and there'll be others. There's a management change there. Barcelona will come back, there's no doubt about it. Real Madrid will strengthen in the summer under Zidane. I mean, he wouldn't have gone back in there unless he got assurances that they were going to spend some money. You mentioned Man City. No, I don't. I think it's a great time to be at Liverpool, but I don't think I mean, it's a wonderful time to be at Liverpool. In fact, there was some nonsense today that we did it earlier on in digital. Is Mo Salah going to leave Liverpool? I mean, why would you?
Right.
I don't know where. That's quite clearly end of season nonsense.
Was that quite a short digital segment?
Yeah, I kind of shut that one down straight away. Get out of here! But, why would you? It's a great club to be at in the best of times. They've got a manager that, to a man, I mean, even at the end, I mean, I'm sure there are some issues, but he's hugging Sturridge. Origi's done a job from Shaqiri, he's hugging... It just seems, even if you're on the bench, he can sell it to you. OK, you might be a bit frustrated, but he can sell you enough to keep you happy. So you want to play for your manager. It's a great club to play at. And barring the fact that they sell 3 or 4 of the best players, they're only going to get better next year. So dominance, no, because they can't dominate domestically yet.
Right.
Still got to get over that hurdle. But a great time to be there and a lot of hope going forward. Absolutely.
Start of a dynasty for Liverpool?
Well, it cannot be a dynasty unless you're dominating your own league.
Right.
And so in that case, then you have to catch up Manchester City, which they were very close to doing this year, but I assume that Manchester City continues to get stronger and Liverpool will continue to get stronger. It's a great place to start from if you're Liverpool, and when you consider that the players that were in this final are either in their prime or coming into their prime, and all of them have been incredibly productive. I just think that the big picture for Liverpool, it is incredibly impressive that they were able to make it back to the stage, having been to where they were last year, into the final, and everything that they had to go through in order to make it back. That in itself is impressive. For people to be now, not even 2 days removed from the final, be thinking, well, we're going to win it again next year. There's so many things that happen over the course of the season, which, by the way, is one of those things is when you win something important in any team that I've ever been a part of, one of the most difficult things is keeping the focus of the team on the team goals. Because what happens is when you win something, everybody gets very confident about themselves and their abilities, and they start pulling in different directions. Everybody starts going, oh, well, hold on a second. I could go here. I could go there. There's people interested in me. I'm an expensive player. I was important to Liverpool in winning this. If they want to keep me, then they have to pay me accordingly. And all these other things that come into it, interests that pull a locker room in different directions. That will be the biggest challenge for Liverpool, is keeping everybody focused on the task at hand. And that is not only repealing this title, but also about winning their own title, the domestic league.
Can't we talk about the game?
No,
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
What?
Welcome back. Let's talk about that garbage game. Oh, it was awful, wasn't it? Well, I mean, they won't care. But it was horrendous. I mean, thank God we didn't go. Imagine,
it was horrible. It was horrible.
By the way, did you get in? Did you get in?
I did get in.
You snuck in, did you? One of those black market tickets, was it?
I was there. No,
but I tell you what, honestly, and I mean this, the most important time to strengthen a football club is when it's going well.
So that's the question now. We discussed it yesterday on the show, and the fact that you take a look at the ages for this Liverpool side, very much in favour of Jurgen Klopp and the board, and that everyone's young and everyone's coming into their prime at a good time. But where in that 11, where in that squad, in fact, would you look to strengthen straight off the bat?
Another centre-half, for sure. A real quality one to partner Van Dijk. Matip's done OK, and they've got Lovren there as well, and Joe Gomez can play centre-half, has played centre-half, but has had his injuries. I think an extra body in midfield as well, because I think James Milner at the bottom of the screen, they come off the bench. Is he 33? Did it say there? Was that what that was in the brackets? He's 33, as fit as he is. So I think an extra midfielder, and then I think a guy who can put the ball in the back of the net.
Right.
You know, natural. You know, there's been talk.
Has Origi done enough, having been the hero for the last?
No, and I think he's done what he needs to do to keep himself within the squad, if that's what they want. But no, I don't think he's had a purple patch in these big games, and that's great. But I think over the course of a season, if you look at City, Guerrero's out as Jesus it comes in. You know, they can rotate a little bit more, and you see the issues that Chelsea had with the strikers. It's such an important position. Arsenal have got two, and Lacazette and Aubameyang. So I think another one there. But people would say, well, and I go back to that point. It's easy to see where you need to strengthen when your team's having a nightmare.
Yep.
You have to go, right, we need that. The most important thing, I think, and what Ali was saying, is you can't rest on it. If you don't start bringing players in to give Firmino a kick up the backside, to give Mane and Salah a kick up the backside, or Fabinho, or Henderson, or Wijnaldum, then they just get a little bit, they might get a little bit complacent. I don't think so under that manager, but it just might happen. It's interesting enough, Jordan Henderson under Brendan Rodgers was being outed.
Yes.
Yeah, he was being offered out to other clubs, and they were trying to get rid of him. And I think it just shows what different managers can get out of different players.
Where do we stand on Mo Salah overall this season?
But it's not with that digital headline that he's leaving.
Well, I saw a digital hit that you did saying he was leaving, but isn't it weird?
I didn't say he was leaving.
Why didn't you? Calm down.
I didn't say. Why would you?
Isn't it weird that he's one of the heroes of the final? Of course, scores the penalty, yet. In a big match like that, surely you want someone like Mo Salah to step up. But apart from the penalty, he didn't actually do that much, did he? Or is that harsh?
Who did?
Yeah,
no, that's true. But surely you're Mo Salah. You're the face of the club. You're the star of the show.
Well, but you can make the argument that Sadio Mane has been their most important player in this run. That while Mo Salah may have scored a couple of goals here and there might have been important goals, that it was Sadio Mane's performance overall that really created all sorts of issues for, say, Barcelona, who Sergio Busquets still chasing Sadio Mane. Hasn't caught him, let me tell you, hasn't caught him. And the back line of Barcelona is still chasing the speed of Sadio Mane. And so his movement coming off the line creates all sorts of problems. But Mo Salah scores goals. Yeah. And so whatever you may think of his overall performance, when you look at the box score, it still says Mo Salah scored in the Champions League final. And so, look, he hasn't been as good as he was last year. But I think he'll take this year over last year.
That's you're having a Rafa Benitez moment.
In what sense?
Well, okay, there's the stats from, 41 last year's. He was never going to repeat that.
No.
27's amazing.
No, of course it's amazing.
27's amazing. But I know what you're saying, but the Rafa Benitez moment would be, allegedly, as the story goes, after the final in 2005, when they came back from that 3-0 deficit against AC Milan to win, I think it was in penalties they won, I can't remember. When they came back to win at the end of it. Yeah. As folklore goes, Benitez pulled some of them back at the hotel and said, guys, we can't defend like this, you know what I mean? We've just won the Champions League. So I can't imagine for a minute Mo Salah got back in the dressing room and Klopp's there going, Mo, I got to get more out of you than that. It's just not good enough. So I think the final itself drained the quality out of, for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't buy they're tired. They've not played for a amount of time. Yeah. Maybe just something to do with the occasion. But it sapped the quality and pace out of both teams, there's no doubt about it.
It's interesting, some people have said, oh, no, but if you were there, you would have really appreciated it. No. I was there, and it wasn't.
Who's saying that?
So, let's not even go there.
And it was... Nicol appreciated it, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, Nicol. But even at the end, he was just like, oh, thank God that's over. Because it was just torture. Because obviously it was just the one goal for so long.
Yeah, it wasn't... I think if it'd been a frantic game and somebody had clinched it late on in the 9th minute, then it might have been different. But it just seemed dead from the get-go.
On the other side, if you're Harry Kane, when do you start having a word with your agent to get some feelers out?
Well, I'd imagine they have already, but the whole thing will hinge around Pochettino, I think.
Right.
He's the glue to keep keep them together short term.
So if you were Harry Kane, you would stay because of Pochettino?
I think Harry Kane and Pochettino, I'm guessing here, I think they might stay I think there'll be a couple of players that will go at Tottenham, and there's maybe Alderweireld's contract's coming up.
Yep.
Eriksen's contract's coming up in a year or so. They've got some thinking to do. Vertonghen as well. I think Trippier, they need to replace Trippier at right back. But I think, my own opinion is, I think Harry Kane and Pochettino will be there at the start of the season. I think Harry Kane will have to go eventually if he wants to.
But what will change at the start
of the
season?
Well, I think the reason with Pochettino is because he might get some false promises from Daniel Levy. But ultimately, if you look at all the big jobs at the moment, we think Sarri's taking the Juventus job. So that door looks like it's closed. Real Madrid's closed. We think Barcelona's closed and Valverde's staying for the time being. You know, there's no job at Man City, there's no job at Liverpool. The Man United job's gone for the time being, with Solskjaer being appointed. The Chelsea job is probably going to be available, but do you want to leave Tottenham for there with the problems? So I think from Pochettino's point of view, if he plays it clever, doors will open again in 6 to 10 months' time, rather than just now. Because I think he will have to get out of there eventually because of the finances.
If you were Pochettino, though, and Juventus hasn't sealed the deal with Sarri, and they come to you,
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really is the key there.
If you were Kane, quickly, Ali, what would you do?
If I were him, I would go.
Yeah.
I don't.
If you look at the squad, surely it's about the squad, isn't it?
Well, and it's also about the fact that I don't think I'm going to get to this stage again with this team. Yeah. Unlike Liverpool last year, that you could have made the argument, look, this team is set up for the future. This team could be here next year. That you cannot say the same thing about Spurs. I don't think they get to Champions League final next year. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of things lined up this year for them to do it. They took advantage of it, but in the end, they fell short. So if I'm Harry Kane, I'm gone. But I would have been gone a long time ago. It seems like he has a connection with this club that goes beyond an objective business decision, that there is more to it, that there is emotion involved. If I were him, I would be looking elsewhere because I think the ceiling for him is higher than it is for Spurs as a whole.
See, the public perception is... the perception amongst fans of... and I understand fans of each team are blinkered. Tottenham fans, they hate it when we talk about Tottenham players leaving. United fans, they all hate it when you talk... But I think what they have to accept, what fans have to accept, and maybe some have, maybe some haven't, that no matter if you're Harry Kane or Pochettino or whoever, is the public persona is almost always different from the private persona. Yeah. The I love it here, I want to stay, because behind the scenes, all the players and managers worth their salt have an exact idea of what doors might open, when, how much, what the benefits and what the hindrances are of making those moves. And then, till they can get those concretely put in place, they'll play a game. That's what players do, no matter if it's Harry Kane or anybody else for that matter. And, Tottenham fans are just going to have to accept, if Daniel Levy doesn't spend the money, and it might be difficult with that fantastic stadium being put in place, and Mauricio Pochettino goes, it's going to be tough.
Players and managers, regardless, are independent contractors.
Yeah.
And that only lasts for so long. That only lasts until somebody...
And it's a two-way thing as well.
Of course it is.
And pundits.
Yes, that too.
And presenters. And more reaction to the Champions League over on the website. You can check out the alternative award.
State of that.
Anyone seen Stevie?
Did he make it back?
Be sure to join us on the next edition of ESPN FC. In theory, Stevie Nicol will be with us. Let's welcome to the show, shall we? Paolo Bandini is with us. Paolo, let's start with Sarri to Juventus. This is going to happen, isn't it?
I would say almost certainly, but in football, I tend to hold out for the moment where we get absolute confirmation. Look, what has happened is that Juventus have been speaking to Mauricio Sarri and his representatives for a little while. They have the outlines of a deal agreed. They are, of course, still waiting on a few things. Sarri has not yet negotiated a release from Chelsea, and Fali Ramadani is speaking to them about that and whether or not there's going to be a need to pay out the 6 million or so euros to buy out the rest of his contract. On top of that, I think as long as that isn't done, Juventus are a wise enough club to continue having other options at hand. And I just have this sort of personal bee in my bonnet that I'm not convinced they're completely done exploring other options. I think they've got Sarri completely as lined up as they can. And until the minute that deal is done, if something better comes along, I wouldn't rule it out. But yes, I think Sarri is very much a long favourite at this point, and almost certainly that is where we'll end up.
No surprise, if you believe some reports, Pep Guardiola is Juventus' first choice. But this isn't going to happen. But it's weird that this story just won't go away, Paolo.
The Guardiola story, I really just don't know why it won't go away, other than that fans like to fantasise and love the idea of him being in Turin. I think there's no concrete reason to believe that could happen. Honestly, I don't want to sort of dash everyone's dreams here, but there's just no substance to it. I'm certain that Juventus, again, explored it, were interested in it, thought if there was any possibility at all, they would have attacked it in the same way they attacked the Ronaldo option. But Guardiola doesn't want to go at the moment. I think he still feels like he's got business to achieve in Manchester, and he's also got things set up how he wants in Manchester, and you go to a different club and you have to start all over again.
Meanwhile, if Sarri does go to Chelsea, of course, it was almost a given from most that it would be Frank Lampard who would come in to take over. However, over the last few hours, Javi Gracia's name has been heavily linked to a move to Stamford Bridge if Sarri does indeed leave.
Yeah, I've heard the same story. Of course, I think it's still a little bit speculative. I do think the Lampard link was always an interesting one to me. I mean, he's done well at Derby, but you are talking about replacing a manager who, as I think people have sort of gradually woken up to late in the season, Maurizio Sarri did take a team that finished in the middle of the table last season, get them to a third place finish, and also won the Europa League. So it is quite big shoes to step into. And I mean, Gracia, of course, also has not quite got the resume at this stage of Sarri, but he has a bit more experience of coaching at the top level. And I think that perhaps that's just a little thought in the minds of some members of the Chelsea board as well. But a little early for me on that particular story to know whether that is indeed the way they're learning, the way they are leaning, or if it could still be Lampard after all.
Meanwhile, something that is definitely confirmed, Maldini will be the technical director at AC Milan. Why is this a big deal, Paolo?
Well, I suppose it's a big deal because it's a significant change in the people who are going to decide what happens on the footballing side of the club. Maldini was already on the board, but obviously Leonardo has now left, or been up while he's resigned, and since he left, there's a gap as the director in charge of the technical area, which is the role that Maldini will take. There will be a sporting director hired alongside him to sort of deal with the specifics, but essentially you're appointing Maldini to be your leader of recruitment, really. He's the face of it. He's the guy with the contacts from having played for so many years and worked in football for so many years, the guy who can help grease the wheels for you, and as well as overseeing the greater scouting operation. And he's someone who seems to have signed up very much to this idea that Ivan Gazidis has of this has to now be a young team where we develop players, sell players as well to keep the financial side of things moving in the right direction, given that we're missing out on Champions League football for another year. So it's significant because of course, he's a club icon, and because he's someone who the fans relate to and who feels like, I don't know, someone very much of Milan to be the figurehead of things. But I think he will very much still be working alongside people in terms of the ultimate decision-making. As I say, there's still definitely a sporting director will be hired alongside him.
Paolo, thank you very much. Now, if you want to hear more from Paolo and his friends, Gab and Mina, the Sarri Awesome podcast archive is available. You can catch up with maybe some of your favourite episodes from the past. It's new kit season, and this will be Barcelona's for next year. Obviously, very much different to what we're used to.
Is it? Can you get a split? See, we're too late now.
What do you mean?
We'd have to get a split screen because I cannot remember what this year's kit is.
What do you mean you can't remember?
Stripes.
Vertical stripes. Yeah. That is checked.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes, this is very Croatia.
No, I know that's checked.
I didn't think we'd have to do it. This is what it used to look like, and this is now.
Oh, I don't. It's like these.
Barcelona iconic.
It's like logos. You know when people change logos and stuff.
No, this isn't like logos. This is iconic Barcelona.
You see this? You see the stripes in the
stripes, not checks.
I just watch the game. I don't bother with strips. Some team playing red,
like it,
some
Ali,
playing
or
blue.
No.
White, green.
Very Croatia-like.
It is.
Which I don't mind Croatia for Croatia's uniform, but Barcelona, there is a certain history about the stripes.
Right, it's good. Well, apparently.
The stripes.
I thought it was just two-tone.
What? What are you doing? What's happened to you? Podcast available on the website.
Oh, man.
MLS, of course, with you right through the summer on
Eastern time.
Yep.
And at 10 p.m. Eastern time last night, he still hadn't been spotted.
Wow. In theory, he'll be here tomorrow.
Well,
we'll find out. Thank you very much to Ali, to Craig, and to Paolo. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then.
I tell you what, I'd love to have been sat next to him in the plane. Oh my God, imagine that. Oh, God.
Goodbye. Welcome into Extra Time. Thank you, as always, for your tweets. Paolo's here as well. Paolo, we'll start with you. Will a Serie A team not name Juventus win a title in Italy before the next World Cup? So 2022.
Yeah, I think they will. And I suppose that's just trying to, it depends how long Cristiano Ronaldo stays, doesn't it? Look, no, I think they will. I think that even though Juventus are absolutely dominant and have been, of course, 8 years in a row, there have been times within that they've been run close. I mean, it's only 2 years ago, again, Napoli took them beyond 90 points, and I think that Inter are moving in the right direction, slowly, it must be said. But I think Stephen Zhang has been getting things right on the business side of things, and perhaps Antonio Conte is even the manager to push them on. And personally, I do think that Max Allegri is not an easy manager to replace, and I think with so much focus at that club now on winning the Champions League, perhaps there is a window for someone, if they can get it right, to really push them domestically. So yes, before the next World Cup, yes. That doesn't mean it's happening next season.
Get to the big question, shall we? Craig, are you better with your driver or your short game?
Ooh, well, I know that one.
Yeah, we know the answer.
I know the answer to that.
That's a no-brainer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a little tendency now and again with the short game to get a little jerky.
Bit yippy.
A bit yippy now and again, not always. Now and again.
But the driver is...
Sometimes.
Oh, he's Mr. Humble.
Yes.
Oh, not all the time. It's not down the middle, 300 yards.
It's a beautiful towering draw.
My long game, my putting's all right. Now, my long game is much better than my short game. Put it that way. So my irons, you know, that when I played for you,
yes.
I didn't have, that time I played with you, I didn't have to rely on my short game because I didn't miss any greens.
Really, it was me playing with you was the inspiration.
Well, no, it wasn't so much an inspiration as the fact that I just took my mind off my own game to try and get you over the line of under 100.
One day we'll achieve that. Paolo, do you golf? I'm guessing no.
No, I know so little about golf that when you asked Craig about his short game, I imagined you meant his Bermudas when he's heading off to the beach this summer. So no, I have no idea.
Craig in Bermudas.
Well, that's another side right there.
There's talk of a long summer break for you, isn't there?
Have you been talking to the boss?
No, I mean...
what, self-induced one? Or like one that I've got no control over?
No, I believe it...
One that I've been forced out in case I make some politically incorrect statements during the summer?
You know, pre-season.
You know, not a lot going on in the summer. I might have to force it a little bit.
Exactly.
Give him some time off.
So maybe
I'm hoping... Well, I've got to take my holidays.
Sure.
I've taken 7 days.
Right. Is that all it's been, Ali?
I've only taken 7 days because I'm a
Didn't feel that long. Did not feel that long.
I'm a workaholic. I just come in, I grind away. Give me more Ballon d'Or talk. Messi, Ronaldo, who's the greatest? I can't get enough of it. I'll tell you what, I'm like, can't wait to get in.
Yeah, I know.
Talk about that. It's like this week. This week's going to be great. I can't wait for this week.
No, it's good. Lots going on.
More Champions League stuff. Nations League. Wow. God, dear, it's a mind-boggling. In fact, I might start my holidays now.
Well, yes, I don't think anyone would protest that.
Go ahead. I mean, all right.
Two
what are we waiting for?
Finals and then a final.
Meanwhile, big news today, of course.
Euro qualifiers. Oh, God.
Euro qualifiers.
Yes, end of the week.
But I thought it's Nations League.
I don't bother with that. No. Euro qualifiers.
So the players are well up for that after
Friday, Saturday, and onwards. Seriously.
Wow, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, the Euro qualifiers are starting.
Wow.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, big news today. Gab Marcotti is now exclusively for ESPN.
Yeah, he won't be on more often. Otherwise, I'll be off.
The question was, how much was the transfer fee?
It was chocolate.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's opening doors for...
It was food.
Surely he's taken enough abuse after the boat race. Paolo...
I love the people that were saying... you know, obviously, he made the big announcement he was leaving the Times after 16 years, and people were saying, you'll be a great addition to ESPN. He's not only leaving the Times, he's not coming to ESPN, he was already here.
No, exactly. He's still...
It's like, he's just not going to be writing for the Times anymore.
Yes.
It's a podcast he does, isn't it?
Well, and he writes as well for them.
Oh. Well, I just said that. He writes and does a podcast.
So what happens with his relationship with Mark Ogden now?
So now it gets worse.
Oh,
yeah.
because now it's a real thing.
Now it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's touchy because Mark's the senior writer.
Yes.
There's a lot of seniority campaign going on here. It's a vanity trip.
Yeah.
But I got to say, physically, Gap's imposing.
Well, they might have to fight.
Well,
I don't think Mark's got a chance.
Well, you say that. Oh, you ignorant individual. Did you not see Anthony Joshua at the weekend?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And the little fella.
Yeah. Mark's got a similar tattoo on his back as well.
I got to be honest with you.
What, I've seen Augie. It gets a bit nasty, you know. I mean, he could quit.
He wouldn't win a fight against
I mean,
Gap.
if he gets Marcotti in the kidneys, right in the kidneys, he'll go down.
He can dance for the first couple of rounds and get Gap moving. Yeah. And once you get Gap moving, then stamina starts coming. Yeah. I don't imagine that Gap moves very well past the first round.
Plus, there's the upside.
So that's where Mark can jab.
Yeah, he can jab. And there's also the fact that there's not a doubt, whilst that fight's going on, Gab will be writing a column for ESPN FC.
Right.
During the fight, that's at least 1,500.
So it's like the battle of chief writer on the line in this.
I think FC are making a big mistake here because I'm telling you, there's going to be
there's going to be needle.
Oh, there's going to be needle.
Are you chief analyst? What are you?
Who's the chief?
What's your title?
What's me?
Yeah, what's your title?
There's a lot of titles that we cannot use in this platform.
Okay, that's enough of this.
Chief antagonist.
ESPN FC back tomorrow, maybe with Stevie, maybe not. We will find out.